Hello and welcome to Graceful Connections, presented by Academy for the Soul. I'm your host, Sophie Bidar, and the co-creator of Graceful Connections, together with Christel Hughes, founder of Academy for the Soul, the online school for intuitive arts. Graceful Connections is an adventure of exploration, discovery, healing, liberation, growth, and truthful expression, which is facilitated, amplified, magnified, and blessed really with grace. Because all of our gatherings are held in the orb of grace, which is what brings forth these graceful connections. They are woven between you and our expert speakers, your graceful guides into the new dimensional earth. Graceful connections woven between you and their talents, their wisdom, their expertise, between your questions and their inspired answers, your needs and their masterful responses. But also graceful connections woven between various aspects of you that may be or may feel, for whatever reason, disconnected, fragmented, separated. Allow grace to infuse these areas and aspects and connections, to elevate them to a higher vibration and bring harmony, catalysis, realignments into a higher order, a natural order, the divine order. The order of grace is the divine order. So let's begin. I invite you to relax and take a few deep breaths. Breathing out all that does not belong to this moment. Let's bring all of your attention, all of your presence here and now. We set our intention at our time together. All that is shared in words and beyond the words. All the energies that we call in and flow serve our highest good, our evolution, and be of service to the highest good of all. You can decide to open your heart or open it even more and be ready to receive. And you can decide to open your mind or open it even more and be ready to receive. Remembering your connection to the center, to the heart of the earth. And your connection to the center, to the heart of the universe. So that you are held, both grounded and suspended. You are safe. You can relax. You are ready and open to receive. Now I'm calling an orb of grace from the heart of the universe. And placing this orb of grace around our group, around our gathering, and each and every one of us. That we be held in grace and infused with grace all along our time together. Let's take a moment to adjust to the purity and the high frequency, the subtlety of grace, allowing it to gracefully dissolve, realign, harmonize, amplify, magnify all that needs to be so, in purest alignment with divine will and the divine order of grace. And breathe. Beautiful. Now, within the orb of grace, I'm delighted to welcome today's expert speaker, the wonderful multi-channel intuitive and seer, Godelieve Wheeler, who invites you to discover how to master subtle energy, including your own. Godelieve is a master at identifying and removing blocks to embodying your true nature and divine potential. She has the magical ability to perceive consciousness, allowing her to discern how aligned you are with your higher self. She will activate and assist you to open your gifts to manifest here and now. As a multi-channel intuitive and seer, a certified intuitive strategist with the Academy for the Soul, Godelieve acts as a bridge between dimensions to bring wisdom, deep healing, and activations, putting you on an accelerated path to reclaiming your power and remembering who you came here to be. It is so wonderful to have you with us today as our expert speaker. Godelieve, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to be here. It's an honor. I love being in the orb of grace. And of course, anything that you're doing, Sophie, is so wonderful. So it's great to be a part of it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's wonderful to have you. Thank you for blessing us with your presence. So everyone, Godelieve is going to share her expertise about how to master subtle energy, including your own. So that's very intriguing and it's going to be fascinating for sure. We can feel that already. I'm going to blink to Godelieve for now. Yes, and Godelieve will also offer the experience of a Clear Sentience exploration process, allowing you to discover if and where you are blocked from feeling. And you'll gain awareness of your Clear Sentience, of any blocks preventing its activation, as well as your current potential for feeling subtle energies. And then on Friday, July 7th, we'll gather again with Godelieve for an Intuitive Readings Galore live call. She'll answer your question, what percentage of my Clear Sentience is activated? For the moment, let's tap into your brilliant wisdom, Godelieve. And I'd like to begin with asking you, how is it possible to feel subtle energy? What makes it possible?
Well, it's a good question. And, you can't really talk about feeling subtle energy without also talking about clear sentience, right? So, clear sentience or clear sensing is the ability to receive information through the mechanism of feeling. So, just to clarify, I'm not referring to emotions when I use the word feeling here today, because clear sentience allows you to have a heightened sense of perception and ability to receive information that goes way beyond just feeling the energy of emotions. It's much vaster than just feeling emotional energy. And through clear sentience, you can feel into anything and receive intuitive information by doing so. So you can really go beyond face value of anything and feel through the connected threads of energy and consciousness. And clear sentience is, unfortunately, I think, a less understood Claire than the other Claires. But with clairsentience, you can feel with your physical, feel with your etheric body. You can also feel with other parts of your being. You can feel energy flows, patterns in the fields of others, blockages in yours or someone else's field or body. You can also feel things like mental activity or the state of being of another, and so much more, which, you know, I mentioned some more later, but it's really magical. I won't go into too much detail here about what clairsentience is and all includes, but what is important to know here is that it's your clairsentient ability that allows you to know through feeling, and that includes subtle energy, of course. So subtle energy meaning your own higher self-consciousness, right? Light and codes from the divine. Healing energy, such as Reiki, right? Energetic blocks, implants, or resistance in your own body, right? Or feeling physical or non-physical beings, such as the angelics or fairies and elementals, or the ability to feel into a decision or an opportunity and know which one is right for you by feeling into it, right? Or literally, you can feel the life force or the consciousness in anything, because consciousness is palpable, right? And your clairsentience is what allows you to feel yourself in the higher dimensions or feel the energy of the cells in your body, right? It allows you to feel the love and support of your guides around you or even passed over loved ones, right? So you can use your clairsentience to feel out an object, a group collective, feel into a timeline, anything really, right? So I just threw out a bunch there, but really the possibilities of what you can feel are endless. It's clairsentience that allows for the deepest insight and the richest details and the fullest understanding of complex dynamics, right? And so it's through developing your clairsentience that you begin to master subtle energy. And the more your clairsentience is refined, the more subtle the energies you're able to feel. And so lots of people want to feel non-physical energy and feel very frustrated when it seemingly doesn't come easily, or they feel some energy sometimes, but they'd really like to increase their ability to feel more energy, but they're trying to feel energy through a shut down or otherwise restricted clairsentient channel. And I really believe that for the majority of the people tuning into our chat right now, it's not so much about developing your clairsentience. I think it's more about releasing what is blocking or restricting your clairsentience.
Yeah. So before I ask you more about that, I'm getting the sense that probably many of us, if not, well, most or all of us, have this experience of having shivers, like, right, like the shivers of truth. Like when you hear truth or truth is present and we have chills or shivers, that's clairsentience, right?
Absolutely. You
But
got
that's
it.
just that. So that's one experience that many of us can relate to. Very like almost like a common thing. It's become a very common thing for many. But there's so much more to it. There's so much more to it than the shivers of truth from what you just shared. So that's really
Yeah,
fascinating. It's actually, it seems like this is the tiny element out of such a much more vast
absolutely. Absolutely.
universe.
But I'm
It's like a
glad,
universe of
absolutely.
feeling. Hmm.
It's absolutely true. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because that will, you know, people can then sort, oh yeah, I guess that is my clairsentience. And it's really nice to
Right.
see that more and more people are starting to get in tune with that ability.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So with that, how do we know if our clairsentient channel is restricted or even shut down?
Oh yeah. So the amount or the level of subtle energy you're able to feel is directly related to the status of your clairsentient channels. And so, depending on what level of awareness you're at, you're going to be either more or less consciously aware of where your clairsentience is restricted. And I'll provide some assessment questions in the process portion of our time together today to go through some of that. But let me share two common profiles or broad categories, I would say, of scenarios that I see all the time. The first one is I don't feel anything, right? The first profile category is the one who claims to not feel anything. And so this person will try to feel energy, but then say, I don't feel anything. And this type often also gives up pretty quickly, I notice. And they may just believe that they don't have the gift, and that's why. Other people have that gift, but I don't, right? And this person has great difficulty feeling the presence of energy, even their own energy moving in their body, right? They don't feel connected to their higher self. And often they aren't able to feel when they are grounded, even. They just kind of have the intention and just hope that they're doing it right, right? So in these cases, I often see large, thick, calcified walls and real restriction in the heart and the power centers, and also a real disconnection from the body, often in these cases also. On the other side are the ones that think they feel too much. And so even though they think they feel too much, they're really not even they're using just a tiny bit of their clairsentient power. And often they live like hermits, because being out in the world, feeling everything is just too overwhelming, right? So this is where I often see like a contorting of their clairsentient ability in their field, where I literally see twisting and shrinking and real restriction in their energy, and in an attempt to avoid feeling energies. And there's also often a distrust energy that comes along with this commonly, and a deep belief that they can't handle it all, right? And so these ones may not have been able to even shut down completely, because their makeup or purpose here is so strongly geared towards feeling. And so these ones also especially desperately need to learn how to own their space, right? Because they don't have a strong sense of ownership of their own space. They're allowing everything and anything to come into their field to be experienced, right? And sometimes it lingers for so long, right? Decades even. And so, of course, this is going to be overwhelming and would make anyone want to hide, right? But interestingly, very often, the individuals who are most shut down or the most really restricting their feeling ability are some of the most highly sensitive individuals, and have the potential to be really clairsentiently gifted. And that's why they shut down, because you felt the world so much more intensely than the rest of the people around you. And it was just too painful or uncomfortable to feel so much, especially around people who are either already shut down or didn't have the highly sensitive makeup that you did. So you would have begun restricting your clairsentient ability and just trying not to feel so much. So in either of these cases, and anywhere in between, a sense of knowing your own energy and beginning to take ownership of your space is absolutely key in order to begin opening your clairsentience again safely and comfortably, so that you can begin to consciously feel subtle energy again, but from an empowered place now, right? Where you're in command of what is in your field and how you experience outside energy, and not have that outside energy throw you off balance and take control of your own space. That makes sense.
Yeah, totally so. And as I hear you, I realize that we're so blessed to have you, Godelieve, as a graceful guide to the I wrote down to the realm of feeling, because what we can understand is that these two, let's say, extreme profiles that you have described, the one who doesn't feel anything and the one who feels too much, and every profile in between these two, well, it's just that we've never learned, we've never been taught how to feel, and how and what it means, and how to do it, which is a natural thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
From what I hear. But how do we get to master this natural ability? So this is very, very special and very unique, and really we are blessed to have you to clarify all this and to go even deeper and further into this discovery, and for you to bring light, and yes, absolutely make sense of this realm of the feeling. So would you identify for us what are the barriers to feeling subtle energy? What gets in the way?
Yeah. So there are a lot of various reasons, but some common reasons why someone might not feel subtle energies, especially when just starting to try that, or even not so subtle energies, right? Include not being in the body. So they're disconnected from their body and ability to experience what is present. Too much noise and distractions that preoccupy their awareness. So there's no space for other awareness to enter. In other words, not being calm and quiet enough, right? So there's a lack of attention to the subtle things. You can be preoccupied so much with the outer world reality that you simply don't ever pay attention to what's happening inside of you or the subtle things happening around you, right? Another big one is that the brain is filtering out the information. It's not being registered to your conscious mind. It's actually very, very common. I observe so many people feeling things that never get acknowledged consciously. So it's not that the feelings aren't there, it's that the conscious mind is filtering it out. And so it's really curious for me. It took a long time in my life to realize, oh my gosh, they don't feel it. I thought people were just, lying to me. I'd say, oh, why are you sad? Like, I'm not sad. Like, you know what I mean? So they're feeling things, even sensations and consciousness, especially. Like I used to watch people interact with plants and animals and different things, and I'd see their field interacting. And so I know they were registering it on some level. But then when I asked them about it, it's like they didn't know what I was talking about. Okay, so I won't digress into the match. I wasn't going to go too far down the rabbit hole today because I can so easily do that. But let me give you an example. When you consistently ignore what you feel, eventually your brain filters the information out, filters that information out, deeming it undesirable info. So, for example, many of you listening in experience the presence of non-physical beings as a child, such as your guides or the nature elementals, right? But your outer reality didn't acknowledge the non-physical as valid or even acknowledge it existed. So you gradually stopped paying attention to those non-physical presences because it didn't fit in with this world that you were learning to navigate in and needing to survive in, right? So you began filtering it out. Another common big reason is beliefs and doubts of what's real and possible. But here are the big ones: scar tissue and other blockages in the heart that restrict the heart's ability to modulate as intended, right? Because the heart chakra center is dynamic. It's meant to be dynamic and modulate and receive energies and information and feedback to you constantly, right? Wounds from past hurts and protective walls that you have closed to feeling now, conditioning and programming around what is safe and not safe to feel. That's a big one too. Subconscious fears around accessing or using your gifts now, huge, right? Aspects of yourself that desire to feel or to not feel rather, and have fear of opening to feel again, right? Because at some point you shut down certain feeling centers and created personas that prevent you from feeling in order to protect you. And so you fractured off the feeling parts of yourself, right? So imagine a child who feels the energy and emotions of everyone around her. And what if she had parents that were constantly experiencing a lot of pain and stress and lower vibrational emotions? What do you think would naturally begin to occur, especially to a sensitive child, right? What would she unconsciously begin to do, right? She would try to not feel so much in order to feel less discomfort and pain. This is done subconsciously as a child, of course, as a protective mechanism. It's logical that she would develop coping methods to buffer against feeling those energies and emotions, right? So she begins to shut down and numb herself to feeling. She cuts off part of herself that feels. And maybe she experiences other trauma and abuse even and begins to disassociate and even disconnect from her body even. So this is a big one and a common one, a common occurrence for sensitives, because they do feel so much more than the average person, so much more intensely than most people. And so they develop coping methods in order to just survive in these circumstances, which often means shutting down their feeling centers. And it doesn't take much trauma to cause this, actually. Even simply having your feeling aspect unapproved of by your family, in other words, being told, stop being so sensitive, or you're too sensitive, why are you crying? Things like that can cause you to push that aspect of yourself away. Another couple more. Energetic debris and implants lodged within your power center. So that's power center is a big part of the clairsentient channel also. Sometimes our clairsentient channels are just kind of clogged with energetic debris even. So we need to kind of remove the junk, right? An analogy I use is, imagine trying to feel a feather with mud caked all over your hands, right? You're not going to be able to feel the delicateness of the feather and the nuances of it when your feeling mechanism is blocked or clogged, right? So we need to clear out that debris, transmute the blockages, and reveal the ability underneath and restore healthy functionality. And one last one, physical trauma even. Many people are even completely numb to all kinds of feeling, even physical sensations. So you can have so much scar tissue in the physical body that you can handle unbelievable amounts of pain compared to someone without scar tissue, right? Like compare a child who can feel pain very easily, for example, or a seasoned MMA fighter, right? Who barely flinches when they get punched in the head, right? So your ability to feel in your physical body is actually a very good sign and directly related to how much you can feel in many other ways. And even in my own personal journey, there was a time in my life where I had experienced so much physical trauma repeatedly over many years that, when I think back now to what my body endured, I'm absolutely stunned that somehow I handled or survived it, right? I could not survive that now. But back then, I had so much numbness that there were parts of my body that literally had no feeling left when they were touched. It took years of healing for me to recover feeling in my physical body to the point where today I'm like the princess and the pea. I feel everything slight sensation on my body, right? And this return of sensation came about not by doing physical healing therapy, but by addressing my emotional and psychological trauma, by transmuting that energy and bringing back online those fractured parts and healing the fractured aspects of myself. The physical healing came about naturally with that. And so we'll be going deep into these and more during the Clearing Barriers to Clairsentience workshop that we'll talk about later.
Yeah. And yeah, wow, there's so much that you have mentioned that I'm sure so many of us relate to either all like check all the boxes or many boxes or some of the boxes like the numbness as a coping mechanism. Like if we were together in a room, we could ask to raise your hand who has been doing that or is maybe still doing that until being able to learn a higher way to cope with feeling and to not just cope but to master it and to embrace and to really enjoy it as well, right? So the numbness, the shutdown and all of this, it is so now we get to see it is so complex and there are so many. It's like I'm seeing like many arrows being shot on one target, that are all these arrows disqualifying our natural ability to feel. So no wonder that it is now, as you said at the beginning, it is one of, if not the most unknown and unmastered Claire sense. No wonder, right? It's been so discarded, so yeah, deleted, we can even say, in so many ways.
Yeah.
Now, with that, how do we begin to work comfortably and feeling confident and comfortable and safe, working with subtle energy and beginning to navigate the subtle layers, the subtle realms?
So think about it. How are you going to be able to identify and work with energy and begin to know what you're working with and what you're actually doing if you don't even have a starting awareness of your own energy, right? And also, if your energy is scattered or not in your body, you're not fully present to the energy that you're intending to work with. So this means understanding the different energetic parts of yourself and being able to own your space, right? This is a big concept here. And from there, you're able to decipher what's yours and what's not yours, energetically speaking, right? Then you have something to start with, something to begin contrasting against, right? So that's a key fundamental. You need to know what your own energy feels like, so that you can immediately notice and recognize anything different or new that comes into your awareness. And beyond this awareness, then there's another layer to this. It's, can you distinguish and feel the difference between the consciousness of your body and the consciousness that is you residing in the body, right? So having these awarenesses is what allows you to really feel energy flowing within you and tracking how it moves, because it will feel distinctly different from your starting default state, so to speak, right? So owning your space and becoming intimately aware of your energy and the consciousness is the first key in being able to be aware of and decipher other subtle energies. And this is super essential, especially if you do energy work with clients, for example, to be able to observe yourself during and after doing an energy work session to make sure that you are still in your energetic integrity, right? If you feel exhausted or unwell after you do a healing session with a client, you are not owning your space, right? Owning your space is a powerful position. It ensures the integrity of your own field and energy, and it allows you to flow energy from a point of certainty, competence, and confidence, right? And so these key distinctions are important when or if you want to begin consciously navigating through the subtle realms, which is really fun. It's beginning to know the different parts of yourself and being able to consciously feel from your different parts. So, for example, you can feel from your physical level, of course, but you can also feel with your etheric body, and you can feel with the edge of your field even, right? So you can feel with your consciousness also. And that's just scratching the surface. I really mean that. There's so many points or perspectives that you can feel from once you begin unlocking that power of that clairsentient ability. But it all starts with first being able to navigate your own energy first, right? And explore from that empowered position of owning your space. And there are specific steps, very specific steps involved in being able to own your space and building confidence in your ability to direct energy flowing through you. And from there, you can begin to explore the subtle realms safely and comfortably, and you begin to decipher other energies by creating reference points, right? It's necessary to create robust reference points to be able to identify and recognize subtle energies, like the energetic signature of a specific being, for example, and be able to distinguish one being or one group of beings from another group, right? But even before you master owning your space, you have to experience what optimal grounding is for you, right? So, for example, so often when I'm observing someone's grounding and when they ground into Mother Earth or connect into Source, they literally go there with their consciousness and energy, right? But grounding isn't about sending all your energy into the earth, right? No wonder why you can't hold your grounding if that's what you're doing, right? Imagine trying to live about and function present and aware in your day, but all your energy you're focusing down into the center of the earth, right? So that's an important key. And you can also be quite disconnected from your body, which obviously impacts your ability to feel if you're not present in your body. So those are kind of the key starting fundamentals that you gotta get under your belt, so to speak.
Yeah, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And things we do, some of us, maybe many of us, just not knowing better, right? Until we know better. So
Yeah.
again, it's so precious to have you, Godelieve, and I hear that your own journey got you through, like you had to go through your own learning and mastery, so that now you can turn back and offer this to us. So thank you for being with us for that, and yes, offering your expertise and all that you have had to not only decode and crack the codes, but also to really master, to understand and master at a very the whole complexity of it, not just few elements that we could be aware of, so that now you can be there for us. Now, this all makes a lot of sense when we think of someone who is an energy healer, and how to take care of their own energy before and after session, even during session. Now, if someone is not an energy healer and is not interested in harnessing the feeling of the subtle energy for healing work, is there still any purpose for them to open up their Clear Sentience? What would be the point for them?
Absolutely. Great question. Okay, so I can give you a few examples. One is your clairsentience can be used as a gateway to open up your other clair abilities. So I've seen this so many times. People think they're not clairvoyant until I take them through a few exercises and they begin to realize that they actually do have that ability. And it's because they use their clairsentience as the gateway to open up that flow of more information. So absolutely, that's one reason. If you want to expand your other clairsentience, because it is and an innate ability so strongly, maybe even more so than the other clairs. Something you mentioned earlier, just going on a tangent about it's our natural ability, is we are born feeling, we are highly clairsentient at birth. And the shutting down process is something that we do afterwards, right? Or even in the womb, it can start. But it's something that we learn to do. We are innately, we are so clairsentient. So I'm gonna just back up. So that was one reason. Another one, of course, is that clairsentience empowers you and your ability to heal and care for yourself. So literally being able to feel where in your body you are blocked, whether it's an energy such as a stuck emotion or an old trauma you want to release, or it's a physical kind of ailment, or even a disease that's starting to form in the etheric bodies, right? Hasn't quite made it physical. You can sense that, right? So you can sense what needs to occur when there is an issue, right? Even in the physical body, being in better tune with it, your physical body. And another big one is a high functioning clairsentience allows you to feel the tiniest of nuances in a decision in this direction or another, right? So with this ability, you can feel into an opportunity. Let's say you can't decide between A or B, right? You can feel into an opportunity, a situation, or a place to know if it's right for you, which one is right for you, right? All the other clairs play a part in our guidance system, but without a good functioning of your clairsentient channel, you're going to continue to miss out on very key information, right? I witness a lot of people trying to bypass feeling and try to rely on their claircognizance, for example, their ability to just know, but that can only get you so far. And I mean, the best, most accurate way, for example, to know when you're in fifth dimensional energy, for example, is by feeling it, right? Mm-hmm. And by being able to follow your heart requires feeling. You need to be in touch with your feeling centers, right? So that's huge, right? And wouldn't it be valuable to know when someone is acting from their heart or from their mind, right? Wouldn't it be awesome to know when you are acting and making decisions in alignment with your own heart's truth, right? And be able to feel the exact instant when you pop out of that alignment, right? So for me, I can literally feel when someone is in their heart or in their mind or speaking from a heart-mind connected place, because heart energy is palpable. Consciousness is palpable. I can literally feel it and track it moving through and around someone's body, let's say, or anything, right? So clairsentience really is the key to what I call your ultimate guidance system, right? Which is the system that kicks into place when your heart-mind connection is strong and you're connected to your higher dimensional heart consciousness. And at the center of your clairsentience potential is the heart, right? The heart is the crown jewel of your clairsentient ability, right? So you can uncover and develop your clairsentient ability, but once you activate your higher dimensional heart, an entire new level of possibility opens up, right? So the more we unrestrict, unburden, unencumber our heart centers, the more connected and tapped in we can be to all aspects of ourselves and dimensions, and all the wisdom and abilities and higher dimensional frequencies are accessible through this higher dimensional heart connection. And the fascinating thing now is that not only as a collective, we're able to restore functionality of the heart as originally intended, but it's now also possible to go a step further and begin activating a new level of higher dimensional heart consciousness. And this higher dimensional heart activation allows for the next expansion and expression of the multidimensional being that you are. And this is a requisite for ascension, right? You can't ascend with a closed heart. And once you begin to open the heart and activate that center, connect it up to the mind, line it up with the higher self, and allow that higher self consciousness to begin to flow in and seed itself within the heart, that's when all of your other clairs really start to open up. And you have this amazing connection to your higher self and a steady and reliable, consistent guidance system, right? And so let me just say a few words about that heart-mind connection, because I don't think I made that clear. Most of humanity is operating from a severed heart-mind connection, severed connection. So this is when there isn't a fully formed connection or alignment between the heart and the mind. And this causes confusion and uncertainty and not knowing who you are and what you want, for example. It's just one kind of set of symptoms. And one of this ways this can come about, for example, a child can learn to cut off that connection if it couldn't reconcile the two, as in what the mind thinks and what the heart knows, right? So in its experience. So if it couldn't act on that connection, right? So perhaps neither your parents or anyone else around you listened to their heart, and you weren't allowed to satisfy your heart's desires either. And so you learned to separate the two as well, because it would have been quite painful, one, to live around people who ignored their hearts, but also painful for you to not be able to act in alignment with the truth of your own heart. That is actually hugely painful. It can lead to depression and all the way, a whole list of really horrible feeling symptoms when we act out of alignment with our own truth. So as a child in that case, you would have begun to sever that connection as well that you saw in the people around you, and started beginning to value mind over heart. And this is the common scenario in the majority of humanity right now, operating from the mind and denying the wisdom of the heart. Or in other words, ignoring the truth of your heart. Capital T on truth here. And the severed connection is so limiting you. It literally can prevent you from knowing who you really are. And so importantly, from knowing what you want and what will make you happy, right? Your heart knows exactly what you need to be happy. But if that heart-mind connection is severed, it can be really hard to know what is true for you.
Wow, yes, I can feel in my heart for truth, for truth, how this resonates with so many who are listening and in the audience right now, how this feels. Now some may experience it as a feeling or not, like the truth will come in a way or another, but I can sense definitely how it resonates with so many as an experience and as things that are going on, that have been going on and that are still going on for so many, and not knowing how to get out of this, knowing that yes, we need this heart mind connection and flow, but how to make it happen can be such a mystery, such a there are two. Before we go on, I've made two notes. That one is really hearing you, I'm being shown an image of like a wolf pack, and Clear Sentience being the leader of the pack, and really opening the way, and being the leader of the pack with clairvoyance, clairaudience, who are so much more, we can say, famous, right? And yet, from hearing you, we discover that it's actually Clear Sentience is actually meant to be the leader of the pack. Is that correct?
That's how I see it, absolutely. And same thing, I'm a seer also in my visions of the future. Our heart centers are so open, and we are so in tune and connected, and we feel so much like, and you can imagine if everyone is highly clairsentient, there would be no more wars, there would be no acts of cruelty, there would be no abuse, right? Because the mere thought of hurting another one immediately would cause you pain, right? So that's the direction that humanity, it is heading, more feeling, right? And so that's what the world needs now, more feeling.
Yes, and this I'm sure, because I'm feeling that it's vibrating through the audience, and many are getting shivers of truth with that right now. So yes, definitely, definitely, and we
You know what?
certainly need. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was just going to interject because something you said a couple times earlier in our talk about it, clear sentience, you mentioned it's sometimes ignored. And it really is the most undervalued and often overlooked clair ability. And I think a couple of the reasons for that is, for example, you often hear about people going to see a clairvoyant, but how often do you hear someone say, I'm going to see a clear sentient, right?
That's
But
right.
I think one of the reasons is there's a carryover from the physical aspect, the whole seeing is believing. It's like a carryover. All of a sudden now I want to open my intuitive abilities. Well, seeing is the most reliable, right? So there's that kind of idea. The other thing is that, I always say it takes an incredible amount of bravery to decide to feel again, because the world has been such a harsh place, especially for sensitives. that opening up the feeling channels has really not been an option because it's been so painful. It's really hard to operate, especially in the past and recent history. I mean, the energies of the planet were so much denser. Can you imagine being open and feeling everything and living through wars and all that kind of stuff? Like, so it was just safer to use the other clairs, right? So I mentioned earlier, I see a lot of people who are blocked in their clairsentient really try and be in their claircognizance and clairvoyant, and there's this feeling because it's safer that way. So I just wanted to address that quickly because I
Yes.
appreciated that comment, because I always feel like yeah, it's so little understood. There needs to be more understanding around it for sure.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for what you shared, just the last part. This also, I get the sense that it resonates with many and for many. So thank you for bringing that clarity. The other thing that I made a note of is because so many sensitives experience issues with boundaries, right? So let's bring boundaries. And I'm getting that many of the boundary issues have to do with owning or not owning our clairsentience, whether so many are complaining about I don't have boundaries, or my boundaries are too non-existing, or on the opposite, so rigid that they let nothing in, or
Good point.
using some toxic ways of holding boundaries, such as
Yes.
using anger as a way to have
Yes.
boundaries, not knowing to do better, right? So
Exactly.
does it
Yep.
relate? Yeah, boundaries and clairsentience.
Yes. So that's absolutely true for the boundaries. And I think one of the biggest things that people don't understand is how powerful they are. People don't understand that you absolutely can command your own energy. You can own your space. You can control. So that's a huge one. People just don't know. We're not taught that, right? In our school system, how to manage energy, right? So we don't realize how powerful we are, and we don't know, we're not taught how to have healthy boundaries, like you say, because absolutely there are not healthy boundaries, ways to do that. And then create these safe and optimal for you boundaries, because it's gonna be different for everyone. And then owning that space, it's yours, and really, coming into that ownership of your own space and your sovereignty. And then you can really command your own energy. And then once you really master that, then you begin to be able to direct the flow of other energies that aren't you per se. But you need that foundation first.
Yes,
Thanks for
absolutely.
asking that.
Yeah, well, it was kind of blinking, or I wanted to be called and to be named, because and the thing is, many of our audience have the awareness of having issues with boundaries,
Yes.
maybe not that awareness of how it relates to their the subtle energies and their feeling abilities. So I think it was good to bring the two together where they belong. Now with
Yeah.
that, we are really so blessed, Godelieve, to have you. You are really the graceful guide into the realm of the subtlety of feeling and clairsentience, and you have created a brand new offering that is exclusive for Graceful Connections, mastering subtle energy. So we'd love to hear all about it. Everyone, to follow Godelieve, simply scroll down the page to review and access Godelieve's special offer. Please reveal, Godelieve, what you have created for our audience.
Okay, awesome. So let me just pull up that sales page just so I don't miss any elements there. Okay. So the program is called Mastering Subtle Energy, and it's about mastering energy, including your own, and starting with your own. So kind of what I just kind of talked about, right? So there's two options. And option one includes a private activation session with me, the Master Subtle Energy Activation private session. So At the onset, I'm going to be doing a reading of your heart to reveal what percentage of your heart is currently open to feel in context of what's actually possible in your unique evolution right now. So I connect in with your higher self and other beings that want to come in that for the purpose of the session. And I'm shown, literally shown, where the potential is and kind of where the session is to be guided. And I'm also going to look at that status of your heart-mind connection, right? To see what degree you're consciously connected and living from the wisdom of your heart. And kind of a big piece of this is clearing the way. So usually when I look and I ask that question and higher self shows me, then I'm presented with, okay, what's the block that needs to be cleared or dealt with or healed, transmuted in order to clear that way for that next step in activating your abilities, right? To work with subtle energy. Then there's a really powerful heart activation, right? This is what I was talking about earlier, connecting to your higher dimensional heart and increasing the amount of higher self-consciousness within you, increasing that connection and your ability for the higher self-consciousness to literally seat in the cells of your body, to anchor that consciousness in, right? So you'll connect that strong, create that strong connection to your higher multi-dimensional heart and your higher self energies. And you know, even if you're already feeling energy, there's a big leap when you activate that technology of your higher dimensional heart center and begin to access more of your clairsentient potential, right? So part of that then is we're going to repair the severed heart-mind connection. And right? So increasing your ability to tap into your ultimate guidance system, bringing that online and really amplifying that, right? So, and I'll be able to tell how much work you've done and, you know, how close you are to that. So it can really help you amplify that. And then, you know, enhancing of your clairsentient skills and ability to specifically flow energy. So this is really fun. This is the really fun part, especially, you know, activate or either activate or significantly amplify your ability to run and feel energy via your hands. So that you have chakras in your hands will be activating. Sometimes also I see higher self instructing a different part of you. Maybe it's like another Claire or another part of your body, you know, that wants to become a really big component of your healing ability, right? So that's kind of organic. And then we're going to amplify your personalized technique, which I'm going to go over. It's in the program, and we're going to make it really robust and powerful. And then, of course, through all this process, I'm seeing lots. So I'll be giving insight on your makeup and what is specifically possible for you. So I often start to see visions. I start to see higher self tells me she can do this or he can do that, right? So I'll share with what's coming through. It's really fun and beautiful for me to witness too, because everyone is so unique and different and so beautiful, right? So this will really increase your confidence in your ability to command your energy, this private session, right? And also I'll share just more ways that you can expand your clairsentience further. So it's really about helping you step into your clairsentient power. So yeah, this program is great for people who want to begin feeling energy moving through their body and people who are already do feel energy and want to take their feeling ability to the next level. Because as I always say, once you have momentum, it's easier to, you know, expand and move things. So whether you're just starting or once you're already feeling, your possibility to expand is, you know, can really be amazing. Okay. So the second option we have, which is also included in the first. So option one includes everything, the private session and the program. So the program is Fundamentals of Mastering Subtle Energy, or I mean the first item, sorry. And it's 2 live group teaching modules with Q&A. So module 1 is we're focusing more deeper on the clairsentient ability. What does subtle energy all entail? Way more detail. And importantly, it's a big part is how to recognize information coming through your clairsentient channels. And a big part is self-assessment. So to help you gauge where you're currently at, and I'll discuss specific markers to help you understand your currently active scope of your clairsentient ability. And so that's a big assessment part. Really open your eyes to the different parts of your life where you may have not been noticing and what's possible, etc. The second module is, like we've been discussing, owning your space. So learning about the concepts and the importance of this, and another concept of anchoring in your field, right? How to decipher your energy versus others. So going into the details of how you decipher that, and the body's consciousness as well as you as an energy being. And you're going to learn about reference points and how to create them to navigate through the subtle realms. You also learn about the technique, which you'll create in the practice sessions, and lots of other things about commanding your energy, right? And what's possible. So we'll prepare for the practice sessions. Item number 2 is the optimal grounding live interactive lab. So I put this optimal grounding interactive lab in the program because I really felt it was essential as a foundational piece if you want to be able to own your space and command your energy, right? Knowing what it feels like to be optimally grounded first. And that includes the awareness of your body energy and awareness of where your consciousness is. And so in the lab, I will get you there. And so you can actually feel what it feels like and create a reference point that you can find your way back to easily. And so this is the first essential element that we'll begin with, is before we even do own your space. There are people who can feel energy, but they aren't going to be able to master it safely and healthily without, this fundamental piece in place. Now, the great thing, the fun thing about the live interactive lab is that I'll be doing them in very small, intimate groups. I'll be working with you each one-on-one, personally, individually at a time. I will be observing your grounding and making adjustments as needed. So for example, directing your consciousness, etc., to get you to a place where you can feel the difference. And once you got that, then, make a reference point of it so you can get back to it easily. But so those are going to be interactive, small groups, working one-on-one individually with each of you to get you into an optimal alignment, because it's going to be slightly different for each of you. And just a note for this lab, I will create small groups and hold them at different times of the day to accommodate the different time zones. Because it's really important that, obviously you show up live for the live lab.
Yeah.
Okay. So item number 3 is advancing your command of energy. So these are the live training and practice sessions. And so after you've cleared a lot of what's blocking your ability to feel subtle energy, which we'll talk about the workshop, we'll begin the training and the practice sessions. So this is a super, super fun part. The first training and practice session is about practice owning your space and creating your personalized technique. So what we learned, we're going to put into practice. I'm going to guide you into that, guide you into anchoring in your field, beginning to practice feeling where you end and the other begins, right? We're going to create your personalized technique to bring you back into optimal alignment. Now, I call this simply your personalized technique because you're going to customize a very specific process that I've created and then name it something that is meaningful to you. And that's why I just called it the personalized technique. Session 2, more fun, track energy in your body. So at this point, you will be able to begin tracking energy through your body. So we're going to learn how to do this, be guided through several different types of exercises. And in this session, it's going to be fun too, because you're going to begin to experience your clairsentience as that gateway. So this is one of my favorite exercises that we'll do in the second part of this session. One of my favorite exercises to do with people, because there's always so many ahas and validating wow moments as they begin to experience this in action. So that's always really fun. So we'll really begin to explore your clairsentient ability further, and even starting to experience such things as definition and nuance, which I didn't talk about in our little chat today, but that is more. And then also retrain your brain. We're going to begin to do that. If you have listened to the welcome gift for this Graceful Connection series that I offered, it's you can learn all about that, what I mean by retrain your brain. And discover the concept of the space in between that connects you to everything. Okay, so we didn't talk about this in the chat either, but this is a really fascinating phenomena. This is something that I used to feel way out. This idea of this space that connects us to everything. I kind of think of it like sometimes you can see, let's say, your hand out in front of you, but let's say there's something covering this and it looks like you're disconnected, but you're actually connected. It's similar to becoming to feel that connection, that even though it may look separate, it's actually accessible to you just as easily as your own finger. So in a nutshell, so that is a really cool section. And just to begin opening your horizons of what's possible, just stretch your worldview a little bit more. And item number 4 is the Clearing Clairsentience Barriers Workshop. Okay, so if you want to feel more, you must begin understanding where and why you chose to stop feeling in the first place, right? So often people think with their conscious mind that they want to be able to feel subtle energies, but subconsciously, there are very real parts of themselves that don't want to feel those energies at all, right? And we're all born clairsentient, but we begin from a very early age, even in the womb, to dampen, shut down, contort, restrict, etc., our feeling ability. But it comes with the human body. So no one can really say, I'm not clairsentient. The truth is more like, I'm not able to access my clairsentient ability at the moment, right? And I can often tell just by observing someone's breathing where they are restricting their clairsentience. So this workshop, we're going to cover a little bit more about what is a barrier, so because I really want you to understand it, right? And how to recognize, this is a big one, how to recognize when you're in resistance to feeling. Because when you're able to start recognizing it, then you can investigate deeper to release it. But if you don't know when it's happening, you don't know when it's there or that it's there, how are you going to clear it, right? Or transmute it. So we're going to, a little bit of information there to really help you grasp and see where in your life you're holding these patterns. And then we're going to be clearing common barriers, blocking your clairsentient channels. And I won't list them all here because they're on the screen there, but a lot of barriers within the heart, shadow aspects, energetic debris, subconscious stuff, self-doubts, confusion, all that kind of stuff. We're going to go deep into these and more. It's going to be a very deep clearing workshop. Okay. And of course, we'll complete with a guided infusion to replenish and restore your being from what was cleared. Plus, before the workshop, I'm going to do an energy field scan and live intuitive readings call. And this is to help you identify, I'm going to be identifying your #1 block, limiting your clairsentient ability now. So this is going to be really helpful because this will be done prior to the workshop, so that during the workshop, you'll be able to bring that up for clearing. So I'm going to have, have a common list of barriers that we're going to be deeply clearing. And then at one point in the workshop, I'm going to say, okay, your specific issue or persona that was identified in your intuitive reading, now we're going to bring that up. Okay, so so you'll have at least that really big one mentally grasp around, right? Because I'm going to provide a lot of detail for that one for you. So that'll really help you powerfully clear that your #1 block limiting your clairsentient ability right now. So that's the program. One thing I just wanted to mention too is for the teaching module, it's the Q&A is, there's Q&A with that. So we do, the 1 hour of the teaching module, and then I open up for Q&A and I usually stay around until everyone gets to have their question asked. So lots of interaction in this program and lots of opportunity for asking questions and also hearing the answers to other people's questions, which is always great.
Wow. As you speak, Godelieve, I was shown the image of a puzzle and all the pieces of the puzzle, like the puzzle is complete, totally complete. It is so complete, so comprehensive. You really have included everything here. So to wrap it up, there is the Mastering Subtle Energy training and workshop. That's option 2. The training is made of different, I love how you are offering different ways of working, playing, right? So there's the 2 live group teaching modules. There's the interactive lab in mini groups for optimal grounding. That's absolutely essential. We understand we need to be in our body so that we can sense and feel. Otherwise, everything else just is not going to work at all. So that's great that it's included, and that it is in the format of an energy lab, a mini lab. And the 2 interactive group training and practice sessions, as you said, that's going to be fun, starting to really play and experience and experiment. And the workshop, the clearing workshop, in-depth, profound clearing. So that's the training and workshop option 2. And in option 1, you have all this training and workshop plus the master subtle energy activation, which is really gonna activate this. What I love how you mentioned the technology of the higher dimensional heart center, and we can perceive how with this session, this technology, we will own our technology of the higher dimensional heart, and it's just going to click everything in place. So option 1 with the session, option 2 the training and workshop, and this is really all about reclaiming and owning, but I am getting also enjoying our ability to feel, ability to experience the subtle realms and our clear sentience. And thank you so much for having created such a perfectly comprehensive package and offering the exclusivity to Graceful Connections. And it comes with a 2 payment plan so that it's accessible and we can get started. Now, Godelieve, how do I know this is for me?
Well, if you ever doubt, feeling like if you're wanting to be grounded and you're wanting to connect to higher self or source, or even an element or being that you gravitate towards, for example, an archangel or, the fairies, whatever, if you ever doubt, that connection, then, this is for you. If you want to become in command of your own energy and be able to walk around the world feeling like in a stable and balanced and safe, field, this is for you. If you want to learn to track energy, this is absolutely for you. If you just want to begin opening up your clairsentience just to see what's possible out of curiosity, then this is absolutely for you too. Right? If there's any doubt about actually, can you work with subtle energy, right? If you wonder why you can't seem to feel energy, this is for you. If you know you have blocks in the heart but aren't sure what to do with them or how to resolve them, then this is for you, because that clearing workshop is going to be a huge portion just on the heart, right? So, and if you want to have fun doing it all, this is for you, because I certainly like to have fun. Yeah. So in working with groups, I love working with groups, and I love working on one-on-one. I love it all. There's always wonderful energy. Also, if you're already feeling a lot of energy and you're just not sure what that kind of next level is, I'll be able to see that. And so I'll be able to give you personalized guidance or tips like, oh, try this or try that, right? Because we definitely have enough interactive time together that I'll be able to see if let's say you're at a more advanced level and you need or would benefit from a little point in another direction, right? To help take your level to the next level. And of course, the private session is all about that. I meet you exactly where you're at. I'm in contact and communication with your higher self on what's ready to open. So no matter what level you're at, there's going to be something for you.
Mm, yes. And of course, if you get chills, if you get those shivers of truth, that's definitely for you. You have enough experience of your feeling ability that your feelings are screaming a yes. So
Yeah.
that's for
And
you,
some
right?
people, I'm just sensing right now, some people feel energy in their hands, but they don't know what to do with it, or they haven't really explored further what this is. So
Mhm.
this would be an excellent program for that. Like
Yeah.
just starting to know, okay, what can I do with energy? What,
Absolutely, yeah,
getting to know
because
yourself.
yeah, there's a purpose to it being felt. So what
Yes,
is that? What's the purpose and how? Let's get started with it. And what I
exactly.
love is that one perspective we can put on on this beautiful and very powerful offering is that for all those who have been suffering from feeling, suffering not enough feeling, or suffering too much feeling, now it's going to be time to enjoy and to
Mhm.
really play with feelings and to
Yeah.
enjoy feelings, enjoy the naturalness of feelings. So this is very,
Mhm.
it's like bringing things back to their right natural place, and it's very, actually it's very profound. It is very
Mhm.
profound. Yeah, thank you. So thank you. Thank you for this. Yes, mastering subtle energy,
Mhm.
including your own and beyond. So, yes, with that, Godelieve, we have received so much information, insights. We've discovered a lot, this amazing offering. I think now is a good time to have some experience with you, have an experience with you, exploring our Clear Sentience. So we're here to discover if or where we are blocked from feeling. So if you want to take us into this experience, if there's anything you want to share before getting started, and when you're ready, we're all yours. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought I would just, to help you discover where you may be blocked or restricting feeling, take you through a series of questions, but in two parts. So the first part is more about signs of a restricted or blocked clairsentience. And the second part is going to shift into areas to highlight where your clairsentience is and where, more potential can be. And so let me just get everyone kind of in a quiet and aware space. So just take a deep breath in, bringing all your energy into your body with the intention to be fully present and aware in this now moment. Just kind of bring all your awareness into the center of your head. And then melting that awareness all the way down your spine, all the way to the base of your spine. And then just feel or see your grounding cord connection there and drop it all the way down into the center of the earth, feeling it lock into place, feeling the love response in return, bringing that energy all the way up that cord, up into your body and into the heart. I'm just going to connect from above now too. So with your awareness from the heart, just draw that awareness up your spine now, through your head, out the top of your crown, all the way up, and intending to connect into source, higher self, if that's easier, and then into source. And then feel that love response back, coming down that core, back into the crown, back into the body, and meeting in the heart. These two energies from above and below meeting in the heart, breathing into the heart, and relaxing your body. Just really relax your body. And I want you to get into like a contemplative state here. So I'll be asking questions or making statements. And I want you to think, but not so much with the conscious mind, but just allow information to come to you and feel into some of the questions to know where you may be blocked, if you may be blocked, and where you may be blocked, right? So I'm just going to start asking questions and just notice when you try to flow energy through your body, is there difficulty knowing where the energy is and or if it's actually there? Do you ever doubt whether you are actually successfully flowing energy the way you intend to? Or do you sometimes feel like you don't have control over the energy that you want to flow? Do you ever wonder if you have indeed fully cleared, healed, or transmuted an energy that you tried to heal? Have you ever thought to yourself, clairsentience is just not my gift? Do you ever feel like there is something wrong because you can't seem to feel the connection to your higher self or the divine? Do you find that you're emotionally unavailable in relationships? Just take a moment to kind of observe yourself in relationships. Do you feel that you have to protect yourself from getting hurt in a relationship, for example? Do you feel energy, but you're not sure what kind of energy? It all kind of feels similar or the same. Are you aware of when you lean out of your body or part of your energy comes out of your body? So are you aware of when you lean out of your body? Are you aware of old emotional hurts and wounds in your heart? Do you have fears about things you can't see and don't trust things that you can't see? You believe in that saying, seeing is believing. Others think that you are cold or tough because you don't easily express emotion, even at sad movies. So can you relate to that? Or do you feel unable to cry? That feeling of coldness in your chest when in your mind you're thinking, this should hurt. Why am I not feeling anything? You know that expression where you feel dead inside? Do you remember a time when you felt like crying, but didn't allow yourself? So this, allow whatever memory that comes up. It could be way far back in your childhood even, but do you remember a time when you felt a lot of emotion, but you suppressed it? Perhaps you had a parent who told you to stop crying, or big boys and girls don't cry, or real men don't cry. So when you may have choked back or swallowed tears or suppressed emotion. And if the answer is yes, did you ever get to fully purge that emotion? Or is it there still somewhere suppressed in your body that has accumulated over your lifetime? Is there still suppressed emotion there that has accumulated over your life? So if you answered yes to any of these, you can be sure that you are in some way limiting your clairsentience, right? Especially holding on to emotion, right? That we talked about. If you're actively suppressing feeling what wants to be felt and released, you are resisting feeling. And in other words, you are also limiting your ability to feel in general. So you know you're limiting your clairsentient ability if you can relate, if you related to any of the above. Okay, so just take a deep breath. Deep breath. Be present and aware again. Just kind of reset yourself. Smile in the heart. Some of you kind of went into those deeper, darker areas, right? So just bringing yourself back with a smile. Now I'm going to guide you through a very quick other list of questions, say, to help you to begin to recognize an aspect of your clairsentient ability right now. So in the first teaching module of program 1, I take you through, a big assessment of your clairsentient channels and discuss markers in detail. But this is a little mini exercise, just one specific area in your clairsentient ability. The ability to receive information clairsentiently through sensation. So, do you ever get goosebumps or raised hairs on the back of your neck or arms when you hear something that feels true to you? Validate yourself. Have you ever just felt an apprehension in your body, like you should avoid walking in a certain path or going in a certain direction? You didn't know why, but your body was just like, just got that feeling to change direction or go a certain way. Ask yourself that. Have you ever had a visceral reaction to something negative that you've seen or heard, or even something positive? But have you ever had a visceral reaction to something negative you've seen or heard? Perhaps it made you feel nauseous right away. Have you ever read or heard something and somehow you just felt deeply with so much conviction that it was true, that it was truth? Have you ever just had a good feeling about something about to happen and then it did? Do you feel, or are you able to feel a certain vibe when you walk into someone's house? Do you sometimes just sense a presence that you can't really explain? Do you just feel it when someone is watching you? You just have this sense somehow you feel that someone's watching you. Are you able to imagine what it feels like to put your hand in a cold stream right now? And can you feel the cold water? Or something else right now. I want you to imagine sitting on the beach in the sunshine right now. Just imagine that right now. And you can feel the sun, the warmth of the sun on your skin. And you feel your toes in the sand. As you move your toes in the sand. Be there now and feel it. Are you able to feel the sun and feel the sand on your feet? If you answered yes to any of these, that is your clairsentient ability. And I only gave a small number of markers to just one category of your clairsentient ability, the ability to feel physically non-physical energy cues from your higher self-awareness or your guides in some cases, for example, right? So the chills and the just knowing, right, is like cues from your higher self or your guiding ones, let's say. But the ability, to imagine and feel the sun, right? That's being able to feel things in a physical way, like in a sensorial way, rather, that isn't actually physical. So that's just one category of your clairsentient ability, and just a small number of little markers, I call them, right? So if you answered yes to most of them and they occur on a regular basis, that means you're already accessing your ability quite a bit, and you have the potential to go so much further. So, yeah. So just take a deep breath. And if your eyes were closed, you can gently open them. It was nice to be on that beach though, eh? Just wiggle your toes and just be present in the body. Make sure you're fully present and aware. And you may want to just reflect after this on some of the things that you're aware of. So for example, in the first exercise, it may have brought up some awareness of, oh, maybe you are suppressing emotion, or maybe you do have some apprehension about trusting others or being really open to connect with another person and things like that, right? So maybe you've had some realization there. You might want to jot those down. And the second set of questions, validate yourself for what you do feel already. Because even if thought you didn't feel much before, but in hearing those questions, there's like, oh, wait a minute, but I do get a vibe when I go into a house, right? Like that is your clairsentient ability. So I just wanted to highlight that and bring that into your awareness to build upon.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for this experience. I loved how you combined the two aspects, really balancing and going through the first exploration, and then validating what we already experienced that we maybe never really owned, but hey, yes. One thing I wanted to share, that I found the first series of questions, really I have the, let's say, the finger on the pulse of the audience, and I can sense that there were many reactions to some of these questions, but some were more intense. And what it gives me the sense of is that the heart of humanity is really craving the feeling ability. And when
Yes.
that question, that I wrote it down because this was so specific, the reaction was so specific. Claire Sentience is just not my gift. There was a
Yes.
sense of many hearts with a yes, like locking down, and a sense of sorrow, such a sorrow of the heart that holds this belief, or that has, or to whom the belief has been imposed, and then it's become the truth. And there really is a sense of such such a craving of the heart of humanity, and all our hearts are craving our
Yes.
feelings. And it was very, very poignant, it could be very much felt, I can tell you. So with that, it's so wonderful again to have you, Godelieve, as our graceful guide into the realm of feeling and clairsentience and mastering subtle energy. So to wrap up, mastering subtle energy comes in two options. Option 2, the training and workshop, all the pieces of the puzzle, very different, a whole mix of experiences and ways of experiencing and learnings and practices. And option 1, in addition, comes with the Master Subtle Energy activation session, where you're going to really activate this technology of your higher dimensional heart. And this is really all about awakening the power of your multidimensional heart center, remembering who you are, a divine being of love, embodied here for a purpose at this specific time. So, and really the reopening of this the nourishing and the nurturing of this craving of our hearts for feeling. It is possible, it is offered, and it is really gracefully guided, not just offered, guided. And it's now with you, Godelieve, it becomes possible. And as you said, to those who are just beginning, or who are either totally shut down to feeling, or overwhelmed with feeling, and as well for those who are somewhere further on the journey, there is so much more. There is the foundation work, and there is so much more, and there is always more and beyond. And you are there because of your way of working, well, in the private session, definitely individually, but also you have this way of working in group setting in which everyone gets their own personalized attention, and so that we are totally taken care of. So thank you for creating this. And we're going to meet again on Friday, July 7th at 9 a.m. Pacific for an Intuitive Readings Galore live call. And Godelieve will answer your question, what percentage of my Clear Sentience is activated? And that's where we're going to get very personal. Godelieve will tune into your energy field and let you know what's going on there, what's happening, any blocks to your Clear Sentience, and also how to remedy it. Now, of course, if you can't attend the live call with Godelieve, make sure to request your intuitive reading in advance and then catch up with the replay to receive Godelieve's insights and wisdom. Now, for the moment, Godelieve, is there any word of closing that you would like to offer? You've offered so much already, but is there anything that you would like to offer to close for today?
I just might say that Clear Sentience is one of the most perhaps undervalued and overlooked psychic abilities, because it takes courage to decide to open up to feeling again. So this is also, though, why it is one of the most rewarding of all the spiritual abilities. And I really resonate with what you said, Sophie, about the collective heart of humanity and all of our hearts really yearning to feel again. That's exactly what I tap into and feel also. It's exactly what we all need, right? So a healing of the heart, such a key piece in all of this, that you can't talk about Clear Sentience without the heart, you know, and it's all tied in together. But really opening your Clear Sentience and beginning to palpably feel energy is just will transform your life. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes. And you know, you mentioned courage. Well, courage is a quality of the heart. It comes, even if we look at the word, and I know you speak French, Godelieve. Sometimes we do our things in French, but the word courage literally comes from the French word cœur, which is heart. So courage is absolutely a quality of the heart. Now, the issue when our heart is shut down, or when our heart is locked or feels weak, how do we have this courage? Well, with you, when we have a graceful guide and someone who knows the way and who demonstrates, like I did it, I'm here to show you the way. Now you convey this courage to our hearts. And that's also very, very important. It's an empowerment of the courage of our hearts, so that we can also engage on this journey, not just engage, but roll with you all along this journey. So this is very, very important. And thank you for bringing it. Thank you for bringing this. Offering
Beautiful.
us the
Thank
courage
you.
to walk this journey with you. Yes, thank you. So much.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet anybody who decides to join the program. I love, meeting new people and connecting through the hearts and seeing the different potentials, because everyone has a unique piece of the puzzle, right? So it's always fascinating. Sometimes I see somebody's unique aspects and potentials, and it's fascinating for me too.
Yes, and we want all those hearts, those craving hearts, we want them open and feeling, and so that we can have feeling conversations openly and live together in the realm of feelings, right? Yes, yeah. Now I get chills in my head with that. Absolutely. Yes, because even the head says yes. Now that's interesting. It's not only the heart, even the head says
Yes.
yes to this, right?
Yes, that alignment, yeah, between heart and mind.
All right, so now let's take a moment to be present again to the orb of grace, allowing it to remain there, holding us, holding all that we have received today, all that we are aware we have received, but all that we are not even aware we have received, allowing it to settle in, holding us for as long as it serves our highest good, our evolution, and the highest good of all, holding us in grace. And we're closing now by giving gratitude to each and every one of you in the audience. Thank you. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of grace and to the calling of your heart for feeling, liberation of the feelings, right? Yes. Gratitude to you, immense gratitude to you, multi-channel seer, intuitive seer, Godelieve Wheeler. Thank you for all the wisdom, the brilliance, the offerings, and all that you have offered today and that you have given us to experience, to perceive, to understand, to embrace through all the graceful connections that have been woven with you and your masterful expertise. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sophie, so much for all that you do. For one, the honor of having me on your beautiful show. And I love what you're doing with Graceful Connections and the Orb of Grace. And you're such an inspiration for showing up in all the different ways that you do. Whenever I see what you're doing, I'm like always tuning into it because it's so beautiful. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
having me here today.
My heart feels so good hearing you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And we do absolutely appreciate your presence and everything you've offered. Until we meet again, of course. And we also want to extend great gratitude to Christel Hughes and Academy for the Soul for offering this platform in which graceful connections grow and expand, impacting our lives, our environment, and the world at large. Yes. Gratitude to the Orb of Grace for providing a safe, sacred space for this journey of exploration that we are engaged on together.
Gratitude to all the beautiful hearts that are doing all the beautiful work to make this shift in all of humanity, right?
Absolutely.
And
beyond. Yes. Gratitude to the hearts. Absolutely. And gratitude for all the grace that we are blessed with at every moment, whether we're aware of it or not. It is offering all the nourishment, the nurturing, the healing, the revelations, the realizations that we open our hearts to receive all along this journey. Gratitude to our higher selves and all the higher beings that guide, support, and protect us. And gratitude to the divine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Until we meet again, many blessings to you all. Bye for now. Yes.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.